Uh,
Okay. Good evening and welcome to Artist Talk on Art on Thursday, December 4th, 2025, as we feature a dialogue between noted artist Franc Palaia and renowned art writer, philosopher, and lecturer Taliesin Thomas. I'm Doug Shear, president of ATOA. Tonight's Zoom conversation is copyrighted by Artist Talk on Art and is the final one of our fall 2025 season. It will last about 90 minutes and allow for Q&A with the audience toward the end. We'll be resuming our talks for the winter and spring semester, our 52nd year, on Monday, January 26th at 7 p.m. and run through May on Monday evenings. So we're returning to Monday evenings. ATOA is the art world's longest running and most prolific independent talk series and prides itself as diverse and inclusive, as well as embracing a full range of aesthetic points of view. Since 1974, we have featured over 9,000 artists, curators, historians, museum and gallery staff, critics, and other arts professionals in more than 1,200 talks, most of them recorded in audio and/or video. Our archive resides at the Smithsonian Institution's Archives of American Art, where our recordings are their largest audio-video collection. If you would like to look at more recordings, you can sample them on our YouTube channel. I also invite you to visit our new website at artisttalkonart.org. And now a little bit about tonight's speakers. Franc Palaia is a multidisciplinary artist whose studio practice includes a range of painting, photography, sculpture, murals, public art, artist books, curating, and music. A very busy artist. He has been awarded 20 grants and fellowships that include the prestigious Rome Prize from the American Academy in Rome, a Louis Tiffany grant, 2 Polaroid sponsorships, a Puffin grant, 3 Arts Mid-Hudson grants, 2 NIFA grants, a Ludwig Vogelstein grant, and Painted Bride grant. He has had over 50 solo shows and 300 group shows nationally and internationally. Solo shows have included the Garner Arts Center, Vassar College, OK Harris, Gallery Salvador in France, Rutgers University, Queens College, the New Jersey State Museum, Gallery Dant in Holland, Fotografisk Gallery, Denmark. Group shows have included those at the Metropolitan Museum, the Saatchi Museum in London, the White House, the Ethan Cohen Cube Gallery, the Dorsky Museum, and the Newark Museum, and also the American Academy in Rome and Whitney Museum Annex, to name a few. Public collections have included the Museum of Modern Art, the new museum, Montclair and Brooklyn Museums, Hip Hop Museum in Newark, Mid-Hudson Civic Center, McDonald's Corporation, Kean University, Bristol-Myers Squibb, among others. Reviews have been, I'm not going to list all the reviews, but just say he's been very widely reviewed and has made a number of TV and radio appearances. He has done some very interesting collaborations with J.M.Basquiat, Annie Leibowitz, Crash, Daze, those are graffiti artists, Richard Hambleton, Salvador Dali, Ron English, Joe Bertolozzi, and has his BA from Kean University in New Jersey and an M.F.A. from the University of Cincinnati. Taliesin Thomas, PhD, is an artist, philosopher, lecturer, writer, and arts professional based in Troy, New York. Since 2007, Thomas has been the founding director of AW Asia and Art Issue Editions, 2 private collections that serve as a basis for collaborations and curatorial projects with museums, institutions, and artists worldwide. She is a visiting critic for the Arts Center of the Capital Region and other regional institutions, including Bennington College, Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute, SUNY New Paltz, and SUNY Plattsburgh. She has lectured widely on contemporary art and has published with Yale University Press, the Brooklyn Rail, Hyperallergic, Chronogram, Dirt, Art Pulse, Journal of Taoist Studies, Journal of Contemporary Chinese Art, and Art Asia Pacific. She studied studio art and aesthetic theory and philosophy at Bennington, at Columbia University, and the Institute for Doctoral Studies in the Visual Arts. And now I'm delighted to present our guests, Franc Palaia and Taliesin Thomas.
Well,
I think it's yours, Taliesin.
Yes, thank you, Doug. What a lovely introduction. Thank you to you and your team and to Alex. It's been a real delight working with you to organize this. Thank you to everybody at ATOA. This is a joy to be here. Now, Frank, can you see us? Are you okay? You had a technical thing. Now you're all set.
Yes, I see everybody. And before we start, I also want to thank Doug and ATOA and everybody tuning in. Sorry for the little delay, but here we are. We're ready to go.
Yes, so if I may, I want to thank everybody joining. A lot of beautiful faces out there, and we're all very distracted. We're all really busy, and this is a very intense time of year. I just want to take a moment and thank everybody for joining and just arrive, take a breath. Here we are together to do this very special thing, which is to talk about art, which is the greatest blessing of the day, is to spend time together and honor aesthetics and honor this diverse conversation. This is indeed a real joy. And thanks again to ATOA for bringing us together. So, Frank, nice to see you. It's you're in your office in Poughkeepsie?
No, Rhinebeck, New York.
Yes, you're in Rhinebeck right now. So we have a chat going. I want to just see, is there a chat happening? Does ATOA do a chat?
No. You want to share screen?
It's funny, I don't see it on the
because it'd be fun to see people it would be fun to chime in to see people. Oh, hi.
There's a chat function, but I don't see anybody using chat at the moment.
It's not up there. It's not up there.
I don't have it on my computer.
Yeah, it'd be fun if we had the chat going. People can just type in where they are this evening. It's always fun to see where people are. And that was nice to see Eve. So, and let's honor the time. We did get a little bit of a late start here, and we want to honor everybody's time. So, as Doug mentioned, we have about an hour and some time to do Q&A. So we want to be respectful of everybody's evening and give everyone a chance to chime in at the end. It's always a delight to hear what people have to say about art and aesthetics. So
Taliesin, do you have the ability to raise your audio level, your outgoing audio?
My audio is yep, my audio sounds good on my end.
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
All right, that's fine. Go right ahead.
I hear her fine too. I hear them fine.
Thanks, everybody. What I'm going to say is I'm going to encourage everybody to mute themselves so that we limit the background shuffling. I see a few people need to mute. Thank you. So thank you. Once again, we get to talk about art and aesthetics. Now, I like to kick it off with a question that I always ask when I'm getting to know someone new, and even someone I've known a long time. If you can remember, Frank, what was your first live concert? Do you remember that?
You mean as a in the audience, you mean?
No, I'm talking about rock and roll. So if I'll kick it off, 1992, I grew up on Long Island. I went to Leonard Skinner at Jones Beach Theater. What was your first live show?
Oh, gee. Well, I'm from New Jersey, and my local sort of buddy, not buddy actually in reality, but in my mind, because we grew up 10 miles apart, born on almost the same day, same year. That's Bruce Springsteen. So I used to see him in the late 60s, standing by himself on the boardwalk in Long Branch, playing all by himself on the guitar. People were just passing by, paying no attention to him. But I knew he was going to be a big deal, so I paid attention. That's my earliest remembrance for that.
See, that's why I always ask that question, because your generation, that's the kind of fantastic response. Bruce Springsteen, Jersey.
Yeah, yeah. And then I met him a few years later on the beach. He was relaxing in his Speedo on a blanket all by himself again. I went over and talked to him for about a half an hour. He was very tired. He had just come off his first uh, national tour, so he was very tired. But anyway, I don't want to talk
That's
about
fun. Yeah,
Bruce the
that's
whole
fun.
night.
It's fun to get some of these tidbits from the past, considering things are so different now with respect to music and technologies and art. Thank you. So, Frank, it's been really fun getting to know you through your work and the community upstate, and putting together this series of queries for you this evening and going over your art and your life. You've done so many great things, as Doug so generously described your bio. There are a lot of directions. This conversation can go in a lot of really cool directions, totally multi-dimensional conversation. So with that, this idea of Frank the Renaissance man, and again, to recap, when we talk about Frank, what are we talking about? We're talking about Frank as a painter, a photographer, a sculptor, book artist, muralist, musician. We're going to get to that. We're going to get to that in a little bit. Independent curator, educator, husband, father, badass. That's what I've said about it. So if you could isolate just one of those ideas about yourself and unpack a little bit, one of those.
Oh, wow. Well, I'd like to start with, are we going to show my artwork, by the way? Is it going to be on the screen or?
We're going to get to your artwork.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, let's
Well,
let's let's
I'd
paint
like,
a little background. Let's get a little more of the background before we look
okay.
at the art. Let's
Well,
hear about you.
I can, you listed all those things. I kind of took one at a time and I kept adding and adding and adding because one thing kept leading to another. I started as a painter, in college, and then I got into photography, and then that gave me. I used photography kind of as a drawing tool to collect images from around the world, and I was very impressed early on in college days with the cave painters. I thought that they did amazing things with no background and no knowledge. I mean, they just painted these beautiful cave paintings with no experience. They didn't know what art, they invented art. Basically, they invented mural painting because they were painting on walls. They invented stencils, they invented spray paint, they invented sculpture 40,000 years ago. To me, that was like the instant in time where the human being became different from every other animal or mammal on the planet because it was the first time that a mammal, we're all mammals, uh, purposely made a mark on a wall. No other animal really does that. So that made me feel, as an artist, that I was kind of special in a way to be part of that hereditary line of having a skill to do that. So I started making cave paintings, simulated cave paintings in graduate school in the early 70s. And I kept going. I experimented with different materials. I started on canvas, and then it went to I was walking. Speaking of the Long Branch beach, I stumbled upon a piece of styrofoam, and that gave me the idea to continue my investigation of simulating urban walls using styrofoam rather than canvas, because the styrofoam I can carve and mold and cut and break and make it look more realistic. So I started using that in the late 70s. And then, so painting led to, and photography led to sculpture, because the urban walls became very three-dimensional, and they got bigger and bigger, uh, which that's the great thing about styrofoam or polystyrene, is because it's so feather light. I can make a 5 by 8 foot piece, and it only weighs 5 or 10 pounds. And so, yeah, so I started with painting and photography, then sculpture, and then I got into sign painting. Just as a quick way to make money. I was teaching as an adjunct in 2 or 3 colleges and wasn't making hardly any money, and it was taking a lot of time. I found out I could paint a sign in one day and make $1,000, which is more than I would make as an adjunct teaching a whole semester. So I got very proficient with sign painting, and
And
then
that was in
that led.
Manhattan? That was in Manhattan, the sign painting?
No, 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 no. It was in New Jersey. I was
Jersey.
living in Elizabeth, New Jersey, then Jersey City, and made,
Custom signs, custom
yeah,
signage.
yeah, hand painted.
Cool.
This is before computer print cutouts and
Sure.
everything. So yeah, the old school of brush and paint. And so painting signs got me into painting murals, because I would paint a sign on a wall, and the customer would come out and say, Frank, can you paint my logo? Can you paint a car? Can you paint a cartoon? And I would say, yeah, of course. I'm an artist. I can do both. So I realized that painting images was a lot more fun than painting letters. Uh, so that's how I got into mural painting. So, one thing sort of just led to another, kind of in a natural, organic way. And I tend to get a little bored doing one thing all the time. So, and I like the challenge of doing different things and becoming proficient at them and professional. And in fact, I've received grants in 8 categories, 8 mediums, all the mediums
Yes.
that you mentioned. Artist books. The only one I didn't get a grant in is sign painting. There's no such thing as a grant in sign painting. But and
Right.
then yeah, so
Yeah, this is fun. Now listen, let's remind ourselves of the time frame. We have about an hour. We can pull
right,
up your slides at any time, but I just
yeah,
want to have a little chat here where we
yeah.
get the landscape
Correction, you
frame.
I,
can correction, you can go up to 90 minutes. You
uh,
take the time you need.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely. So,
Okay.
Frank, if you're anxious to get to your visuals,
yeah,
you can do that.
yes.
But
Yes,
I want
because
to,
I mean, I don't want to just talk about these things. I mean, it really helps to see what I'm talking about. So,
yes, but I have questions as your interviewer.
okay,
You know
okay,
you know how interviews are really more psychological in nature,
okay. Well, we
and
could talk. We could talk while they're looking at the pictures.
so
Oh,
who's in control of running the slides then? Who's the screen sharing person
Sure.
that shows the screen that shows your images? But again, I'm trying to ask a few questions before we get there, but I want you to relax, Frank. I want you to relax before we get to your artwork. I have some questions about
I'm
other,
relaxed. I'm
yeah,
relaxed.
other areas of your life. So I just want to back up a little bit because you're from a certain generation and there's a real time gone by in the art world now, and we know it. So, for my part, right now, I'm reading an extraordinary book, Mary Gabriel's Ninth Street Women. And it's the story of the partners of the big shot Jackson Pollock, the big artists that were active in the 1950s. It's a story of the women. But what am I getting at? The whole thing that was going on, the milieu of the era. So when we think about Frank and the time that you've lived as an artist, let's back up a little bit. Let's go back to New York, 80s culture, graffiti, some of these things that you were doing in a time that is no longer. So if you could just paint us a little bit of a picture, the way in which you were working during the 80s, the artists you were hanging out with, the era, your contribution.
Yeah, well, okay. So the early 80s, I mean, I was exhibiting my first solo show in New York was in 1976 at the Razor Gallery. And I met some of the early the early graffiti artists at the time. In fact, that gallery had the first official graffiti show ever anywhere.
In 79,
76, 76.
76.
Yeah,
Wow.
on Broadway in Soho. And then I showed there in 74 was the first graffiti show. 76 was my first solo show. And then I was during this time I was photographing walls uh, and signs and billboards and graffiti and there really wasn't street art in those days, but there was some stuff going on. I have some very early Basquiat Samo photographs from the late 70s. Um, and I met Crash and Daze and Phase Two and Tracy. They were like the early prominent graffiti artists. So I was making these urban walls, and so I proposed to them, do you mind, would you be interested in collaborating with me? In other words, I would have this fake wall and they would do their tag on it. So their tag would look very realistic because my wall looked very realistic, and then it would make my wall look more realistic with like a real graffiti tag on it. So I did that with Crash and Days and several other writers, including Basquiat. And so that was all in the 80s. I showed everywhere in the East Village. It was really an exciting time. And I was very prolific. I made a lot of pieces and I exhibited everywhere. So
Yeah, it sounds like you were really in it and that you were doing okay because you had gigs that were somewhat lucrative, and so this sounded like you were in a good spot.
yeah, and then I got the Rome Prize in 1985, and
Yes.
it's really great. It was probably the best thing that ever happened to me.
Yes,
It's
and you met Eve, your wife,
And I
during the
met my
rest
wife there, right? And we got
of your
married
tour.
in Rome, so that was the extra bonus there. But I was a little worried because this was the peak of the East Village days, and I felt bad that I had to leave New York. Although the Rome Prize was fantastic, uh, all expenses paid for 1 year at the American Academy. Couldn't
Yes,
ask for anything
extremely
more.
prestigious. That I mean, that's the any American artist knows about that fellowship. That prize is absolutely
Yes.
outstanding.
Thanks. Yeah, that was great. But then that was from 85 to 86. Then I came back the end of 86 and went back to the East Village to sort of pick up where things left off. And I noticed everything was kind of dead and closed. A lot of the galleries were closed. So the East Village didn't last very long. I think from 81 to 86, maybe, or 87.
Hmm.
Uh, so so then I just kept going and I had exhibited in Soho and Tribeca and New Jersey, everywhere pretty much.
Yeah,
So
this is a curiosity about the evolution of an art world in your era and the kind of influx of an economics over time that has been outstanding to witness in this art world. So, okay, so that was a certain era for you, and then you were doing art from an earlier time, and then you got involved in this scene downtown, and it sounds like you were surviving. You were really surviving in that era. That was a challenge. There were a lot of different things going on.
yeah, yes, all during this time, I'm still painting signs, um, and I've got pretty much a big grant every year, almost every year. 8,000, 12,000, 10,000. So that kept me going. And then, of course, my wife's salary that helped. And but yeah, I mean, it's not easy. Sometimes things don't happen for long periods of time, and then all of a sudden you get a lot of sales or something at one time. But I really wish that we could restart the images. I know you're conducting but I just think that can I get like this? Do people want to see the artwork? Put
Yeah,
up
I'm
your
wondering, of course, we can pull up the art, but I was not
because I
told, I was not told who's commanding that. So,
Doug, do you do it? I mean, I can do it. I have.
Hi,
Oh,
I'm waiting for the images to like be sent to my right account because we had to change hosts and the host before
I
has
have
them
it right on.
downloaded.
I have it right on my
So
desk.
you're
Shares
loading the
screen.
images, Natalia?
Yeah, but I mean, if you have them and you want to share them, that's fine too, but I can also do it if you need help with it.
I don't know. Can he share
Can I,
screen?
do I? Where
Can
do I
you
take it?
do you have the
Share?
ability to screen share?
Yeah, wait, because it might be set to only the host can share.
Uh,
Oh.
You could give it to him.
Yeah, wait, let me.
The share button is lit up down there. You could try it,
Yeah,
Frank.
okay.
You could give it a try.
okay.
The share button is down at the bottom, lit
Yeah,
up
I
in
I
green.
just clicked the share button and I don't know, what did I get here? You can request.
Your file is probably there. You just have to find your file, and you're looking at
What?
your own screen, I think.
And it's not letting you?
Do I click my PowerPoint? Okay, there it is. Can you
you
see
see it?
that?
Hopefully in a
Whoever's the
moment.
host can allow him to share. Just allow someone else to share. It should be simple.
Can you do that, Natalia?
Yeah, it
I
should. It's
I,
all
s-
participants
Someone
can
else to
share
share.
already.
I see it on my screen. I don't know if you can see it.
All right, bear with us for a moment. Can you allow him to screen share because he's got his file handy?
Yeah, everyone can screen share at this moment.
all right, I will
Okay,
try.
try it,
How about I try my
Frank.
screen?
Here we
I'm
go.
showing, I'm
Okay.
showing my screen. I think it's working from my screen.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah.
All right,
I
so
see.
Frank, then your job is to say next, please.
Okay, well,
Okay,
let's
so
start.
we're gonna go all the way back to the
Yeah,
cave painting.
can you go to the
So
first slide, please? The
I'm
first
not
one.
seeing it.
Well,
I'm
Yeah,
not
there it
seeing
is.
it.
That's the title page. Yeah, okay, that's the beginning.
Uh, Is
Okay.
anybody else seeing it? I'm not
Yes,
seeing you.
everybody's seeing it, I believe.
Yes.
Let's see. How do I fill the screen with this? Okay, well,
I'm Lothorial and I see it, and I'm way
okay.
out in Illinois.
You
Okay.
can't fill the screen. Just go.
Okay.
That's it.
All right. So can we start? Who's doing the slides?
well, I am doing it from my end, and
Okay.
Okay, so please do it
Go ahead. Go ahead,
from your
Taliesin.
end.
Frank wanted to start with
Yeah,
the
yeah.
title, so here we go.
Yeah, go ahead. Okay.
Okay.
So as I was saying before, in the 70s, early 70s in graduate school, I started making these simulated cave paintings with mixed media and sand, and I actually burnt sticks to get carbon. I was trying to be a caveman, basically. And I even got blood from the butcher and squirted some blood here and there, you know. And go to the next one, next. Taliesin, go to the next. Yeah, okay. So yeah, they got. I was trying to add a little color because they were they were just a little too earthy. So I added some color. Go to the next one, and I found this beautiful rusted car hood and did some simulated cave images. But I intermixed. I don't know if you can see it. The image is kind of small. Is there any way we can enlarge the image? Okay. Well, if you look really closely, you could see I interspersed. Oh, okay, that's better. Interspersed contemporary images. Of course, the cave images are hunting, mostly hunting scenes, but I interspersed helicopters and some jet planes and some nuclear power plants and rockets. Uh, The title is When Will We Learn? You know, we've been shooting and killing and fighting for millennia, but we're still doing that, unfortunately. Okay, next. Next. Yeah, okay. Uh yeah, it's getting a little chopped off. Okay, so yeah, these are the early wall pieces. I started incorporating my sign painting because that's what I see out all over the United States and other countries. I at first I separated my sign painting with my wall pieces. I thought, well, they shouldn't be, I didn't want to like dilute my artwork with sign painting. But then I realized that signs are part of the walls, so and they're all over it. And they have beautiful images and logos like this mobile Pegasus horse. And I thought, well, wow, yeah, why not incorporate the sign lettering with the walls? And and also they're a political statement because they represent a lot of pollution. And so by making their logos kind of decrepit and falling apart and getting beat up and faded and scratched, it was a sort of a subtle comment on my opinion of the very greedy and polluting oil companies. Next. And this one is Shell. Next. And
Are
I
these plaster or are they foam? What are they exactly?
mostly polystyrene or styrofoam. Then there's some of them have a little bit of plaster. For example, this one on the screen now is a two-sided wall piece. One side is uh, I saw a sign of Coca-Cola in about 10 different languages, and I thought, oh, that might be fun to paint. And then on the other side, I did more of a kind of a Roman fresco motif, just as a contrast. A lot of my work is I like to contrast old and new together, and this is a good sample of that. Next, next. Next one. Okay, yeah. All right, yeah, here. This one is yeah, hold that one. That was installation 1980 in Soho of my early wall pieces. That was like an American series because the images are all American. You could see that one piece on the left is quite big. It's 9 feet high and 16 feet wide, and it incorporates a lot of collage and paint and mixed media, spray paint, sign lettering. There's even a little window in there, which you can't really see in that shot, but it gives you an idea. In fact, I got a job from this show. A theater director walked in and he needed a set designer for the theater, the artist studio in New York, and I got a job as a set designer from this show. He said, "Is
Oh,
the artist around?" And I happened to be in the gallery, and I said, "Yeah, it's me." He says, "Oh, okay. I want to hire you to be a set designer for my play." I said, "Okay." See, this is so, and since then I've done some other theater set design. So like this is what I was saying about one thing leading to another, kind of organically.
yes.
Uh, next, please. Okay, yeah. So no, these are some of the collaborations I did with the graffiti artists, as Crash and Daze. So I would make the wall, and then they would do their tag on the piece.
If
Next,
I may just stop there for a minute because our
yeah.
audience, it's a certain demographic, if I may, and I wonder if people are familiar with these artists. For those of us that know the graffiti scene, these are very important artists, and you can
Mm,
look them up and just get a cross section. Anytime you Google image search an artist these days, you can get a great cross section of visuals as it relates. So both Crash and
mhm,
Daze are really terrific artists. It's very cool to see
mhm.
these collaborations, Frank.
Yeah,
We
yeah. They're
had
probably
at Artist Talk on Art, we had these very artists
yeah.
plus a number of other graffiti artists in the 1970s.
Yes, right. Yeah, they're probably the most well-known graffiti artists. Go to the next one. Next one. Yeah, that Yeah, okay. Yeah, go back one, Taliesin. Yeah, so this is two sides. Wait, yeah, yeah, leave that one up. This is two sides of the same piece. It's a freestanding wall, and the graffiti artists are Riff on the right and Coco and Jan on the left. Next, please. Yeah, this is Tracy 168. He's also very no well known. The 168 is the street where he lived, Upper Manhattan, 168th Street. Okay, next. Yeah, this one is also a two-sided freestanding wall piece, pretty big size, 4 by 8 feet by about 5 inches thick. And then one side is the magazine. That was just a compilation of some things I saw in Soho, and I kind of simulated that. And then on the other side is another graffiti artist named Vulcan, and he kind of went wild on that side. Next. Okay, now this is my collaboration with Basquiat, which is a very strange and unusual story. I'll give you the quick short version. Um, in the early 80s, like I was saying, and what you've been seeing, I was collaborating with a lot of the graffiti artists, and I had a little show in Soho, and Basquiat saw the show and told the gallery owner that he really liked my work. I had little wall pieces. And so I thought, well, Basquiat likes my work. Maybe he'll collaborate like the other guys. So I called him up and I told him what my proposal was. And he said, okay, bring over a piece. So I brought a piece over to his studio on Crosby Street in Soho. And I left it there and I left. And about a month went by and I didn't hear anything. So I called him up and I said, Jean-Michel, did you do anything with my wall? And he said, no. Come on over. I have to talk to you, Frank. I said, oh, that didn't sound good. So I went over there and he told me that he couldn't do anything with my wall because his new dealer, Mary Boone, told him that he said, she said, you're not a graffiti artist anymore. So you can't do things like that. Okay. So I guess he felt bad. He gave me like a consolation prize, so to speak. He said, "Okay, Frank, why don't you paint a couple of little paintings for me?" I said, "Okay, fine. What do you want me to paint?" He bends over in his studio, which was completely littered with debris and junk and garbage. It was literally ankle deep in junk. And he picks up two things and says, "Here, paint these." One was a parking sticker, and the other one was a toothpaste box from Thailand, which you can see there at the bottom
Right.
with the teeth. Um, so okay, so I went home, painted him, brought him back, and he paid me, and that was that. And then he died 5 years later, in 1988. So about 2 years ago, I went to one of his shows. It was a major show of his work and his collaborations with Andy Warhol, and it was in the East Village at the Brandt Museum. So of course, Basquiat's my BFF, so I I went to see the show. And so I'm walking through the show and I'm looking at that blue painting on the top of the screen there. And I look closely, and in the bottom left corner, I see a little like simulation of my toothpaste painting that I painted for him. And so that's the middle image is a detail of Basquiat's painting. And he could see that he was looking at my toothpaste painting at the bottom. And now it's not a coincidence because how many toothpaste boxes from Thailand do you see anywhere? So he definitely was looking around. He probably had my painting just leaning up somewhere in the studio, and he subconsciously was thinking about it maybe, and he duplicated it. So anyway, so now I can officially say that I've collaborated with Jean-Michel Basquiat. It took quite a few years, but it happened. And in
That's a very
fact,
special story.
yeah, in fact, this story, I mean, this painting was even had a third collaborator, Francesco Clementi, and Warhol.
Yes.
So the three of them. Oh, and I forgot to mention too, as part of the payment for the little paintings that he commissioned, he gave me his like an album that he made. He produced and wrote the music. It's called Big Bop, and I have it. I'll show it on the screen later. It's a really terrific album, and it's really just one long song. And I found out recently that you can't believe it. It's valued at $25,000. So
Sure.
so that was quite something. Okay, next
Yeah,
slide.
that's a great story.
Okay, so now it's the early 80s. I went to China and I was very, very inspired because it was like another planet in 1981. Not very many people were going to China. I had the chance to go with a group from my college, and I was there for a month and traveled all over the country and took a lot of photographs. Again, I was documenting walls, murals. They didn't have graffiti, but signs, and it was like 1952, even though the year I was there was 1981. As you can see, the Argyle sock painting there looks like the 1950s. They were so far behind in everything. There was not one private car. I mean, there was no McDonald's, no Kentucky Fried Chicken, none of that stuff. So I made a lot of paintings inspired by these Chinese walls. And you can go to the next slide.
Yeah.
Next slide, please. Yeah, you could see the appliances at the bottom there look like the 1950s. So they were a good 30, 40 years behind in pretty much everything. And next, please. And yeah, no drinking and driving. And then there's the flying fish. I love the flying fish ad that I saw. And with ththese pieces, this is what I applied for the Lewis a Comfort Tiffany grant. I got that grant with these pieces. And also I got the Rome Prize with the Chinese murals. Go to the next slide.
Right.
Next slide, please. Yeah, so this is the beginning of the Italian wall series. So this is 1985. I proposed for the Rome Prize, you have to have a proposal with your application. You can't just say, "Oh, I want to go to Rome and, for a year." You have to be there for a reason. So my proposal was to make frescoes, but not the traditional frescoes, more contemporary kind of mixed media frescoes. So this piece you're looking at here, it's PCI Vota, and it's about 4 by 6 feet and about 8 inches thick. Again, it's mostly polystyrene with sand, gravel, faux cement. The left side is actually a dry fresco, and then the right side is mostly collage and mixed media.
This is what happened if Rauschenberg did a fresco.
I guess you could say that. It's funny you should mention Rauschenberg because he's my most favorite artist from the get-go. I really was inspired with I love the way he just used all kinds of materials to make art. And so yeah, I mean, I guess you could say that.
It,
Next,
you know,
please.
it's hold up, if I may. This is
Yeah.
very authentic vision of your work. I think this is a really great example, Italian walls. Just that, if you hover for a minute, just looking at what look like the cuts in, the wounds, as it were, the wounds in these walls. It's just so
Hmm.
authentic, and
Yeah.
it really transports. I mean, that was the feeling I had seeing your show at the Garner.
Hmm.
Frank had a terrific solo show a few months back. It was a great opening evening, a lot of great people there. But the work has this you really feel transported all around the world with Frank's work, and I think this is just a great example of that.
I have a
Thank
brief question, Frank, which is how
you.
many images do you have in this file, roughly?
You mean the PowerPoint?
Yeah.
About 40.
There are 52
Okay,
images.
because
or 50?
We're inching up to 8 o'clock. I
Okay.
think it would be great for you to take maybe another 8 or 10 minutes to show images.
Yeah,
So you may want
yeah,
to jump around a little to do that,
yeah. Okay, you can go ahead,
and
Taliesin.
then allow a little more time for
Yeah,
Taliesin to ask some
Q&A. Right.
questions, and still have a little Q&A time.
Thank
Sure.
you.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Next. Next. Yeah, I love yeah, okay. So, yeah, these are, like I said, I like to combine old and new, like combining Roman imagery with contemporary imagery. This one is a Pompeii wall with an actual window, and I put a contemporary photo in the window. Next, next. Yeah, these are some other kind of Pompeii-ish. Okay, now the next one is the beginning of the, go ahead, next. Okay, so in '86, I went to Berlin to photograph the Berlin Wall, of course, uh, and because it's just so chock full of images and history and politics and activity and color and texture, and it just was an amazing subject. I photographed probably, a whole mile of the Berlin Wall. And then I came back to my studio and made again, like my mixed media technique of polystyrene, mixed media paint, and so forth. So, but these I wanted them to be as authentic as possible. So I made them the actual thickness of the Berlin Wall, which is about 8 inches thick, and some of them are 8, 9 feet uh, tall. Next, next, please.
Yeah, it takes a second,
Yeah.
Frank. There's a lag, so you just give it a
Oh,
second.
okay,
But
okay.
so
So,
you
I
want
just want to say, wait, go back to the Berlin. Right, these are some other
okay.
Berlin pieces. So I had a solo show in 1988 in Soho of the Berlin Wall pieces, and I was amazed. Everybody, absolutely everybody that came into the show, they would see the show. I had it arranged. It looked sort of like an archaeological site of the future, with the Berlin Wall all broken and falling, and everybody would say the same thing. They said, "Oh man, I didn't realize the Berlin Wall came down," and which is a great compliment to me. But I said, "No, it didn't. These are not. It's not the real Berlin Wall." But that's how realistic they looked. That people really thought it was the real thing. But okay,
Or
next. Okay, so in early '80s, I met Richard Hambleton. He's famous for these black shadow paintings that he did all throughout the world in New York, mostly. I photographed about 100 of these black shadows. So I exhibited them just as photographs, but I also thought that they lended themselves perfectly to be part of my urban walls because that's where they were. They were on the wall. So I made some wall pieces and I incorporated my Hambleton shadow photos into the walls. Next. Okay, so in 2013 and 2018, I went to Cuba because I was always fascinated. It was such a mysterious place, and it was so vilified by American politicians. I wanted to see Cuba with my own eyes, just to experience it, and also to see what they had on their walls, because it's such a political country in a way. And I was kind of pleasantly surprised. There was a lot of stuff on the walls. Um, None of it was really political. It was just all kinds of different imagery. Of course, there's Che Guevara and Castro everywhere, but other than that, not much else. But I managed to make a nice series of Cuban walls. Next, please. Here's some more Cuban images.
yeah, these are great.
Next, next. Some more Cuban walls. Next. Okay, so now these are the Italian walls, but these are not Pompeii. These are contemporary walls. Uh, and these are roughly 4 by 5 feet, something like that. And I went to Rome and Naples and other cities and would accumulate imagery, photographic imagery. And then I go home after I travel, I go home and digest all the images and kind of pick out the images that I like, and then I basically fabricate them. I rearrange images, add this, take away that, and I come up with different kinds of pieces. Um, these two images were from Rome. This one was no, that was Naples. This one's Rome. Okay, next. Yeah, again, these are contemporary Italian walls.
Yeah, these are really fun. There's so much going on.
Yeah, yeah,
And
they're
these
very
drawings,
busy.
right?
Yeah,
So again, to say the way the photographs work into your work. So for example, on the left with the horse head, we're seeing a photograph at the bottom. Is that
hmm
right?
yes. Well, it's in
And
the
then
middle.
in the
Yeah.
middle and collaging. Yeah, it's a very interesting process.
Next, please. Uh, this wall was in Naples. Naples is a really wild city for their walls. Next. Yeah, because I travel so much, I figured I should do something with a suitcase, so I put some walls in the suitcase. Have wall will travel, I guess. Next. Yeah, this is a combination wall piece and sculpture. Again, the back part of the image of the wall is contemporary images, and then I add the Pompeii imagery in the front part. Just again, I like to contrast old and new. So really, the wall in the background is just a new modern version of Pompeii. Next,
Right.
these are some other Italian pieces. Next. This is a large sculpture, freestanding sculpture, about 4 by 8 feet, and it's two-sided. The outside on the left is contemporary imagery from Naples, and then on the inside, the concave part is concave. It's cave imagery. So I'm bringing the cave painting up to modern times on the same piece.
Full circle. It's been a full circle. This was the earliest work for you, coming all the way back around the cave painting.
Yeah, well, like I said, I like to combine old and new, and the next one is similar. It's another freestanding piece.
Yeah, this one's great. The Big Eyes Rome. That's a terrific work.
Yeah, and the next one is also that's the Italian. No, that's the one on the right is Italian, and then the one on the left is New York imagery. That's totem with a leash that you can sort of pull your sculpture along with you as you walk along. Next. Okay, so in 1981, I started a dictator series with Mao Zedong, and then I did Stalin. Dictators, they love to have their images all over the place, and they love the medals, they love the gold leaf, the big ego. And but my portraits are not flattering. They're just the opposite. They kind of are hopefully prophetic that their time is past and their time is done. Because we don't like dictators. They're not good. And so I have Mao and Stalin and Mussolini and Kim Jong-un and Putin and Trump and Xi. And the bottom left is Ching. That's Mao's wife. The, go to the next one. Yeah, this is details of Trump with his red MAGA hats. But instead of MAGA, Make America Great Again, I actually typed in what really should be on those hats. Like, let's see if I can. I don't know if you can read, hate Muslims, uh,
Yeah,
screw porn stars, the whole shebang of his activities. Okay, next.
yeah. You got a few more slides here, and then
Yeah,
it'd be great to hear from the
yeah.
crowd. This
These
is
are some
called
recent cave jugs. I have all these jugs, blank, and they were just stark white, and they were like blank canvases, just waiting for something. So I again, I'd taken a modern object, which is a jug, plastic jug, but I added cave imagery on it, and bringing it back to the old and new together again. Next. This is an installation view of a solo show I had in Hudson a couple years ago, Hudson Beach Glass. You get a sense of the
It says
scale.
beacon. I think you mean beacon.
Yeah, what did I say? Hudson Beach Glass and Beacon, yes. Okay, next. Yeah, this is almost a 360-degree view of my solo survey show at the Garner Arts Center this past June. And it was a beautiful 3,000 square foot space, and I really filled it up. And again, it looked like an archaeological site of the future.
Yeah,
Uh,
totally.
and I had several different series, Italian series, Cuban series, Berlin, um, etc. Next, please. Yeah, this was a controversial piece I had in that show. It's the Gaza bomb piece. I've been very upset lately about that war. It's just terrible. 50, 60,000 Palestinians killed, and so this is my reaction to that. This one, yeah, it's about 8 feet tall, 5 feet wide, with debris. There's a broken leg there, a severed leg. And I even used smoke. I burnt torches to get smoke onto the surface.
Mm.
Next. Okay, we're coming down to the very end. Yeah, and this is semi-piece Dinner Time in Gaza. I just was very, very upset that those people were starving, and all they seem to be offered is bullets. And I think
Oh,
that's and then one more. Yeah, this is my most traditional painting that I did in the Rome Prize fellowship year. A little self-portrait in a kind of Florentine uh, style. It's a little
cool.
fresco. So thank you, ATOA.
Yes,
Thanks, Doug.
yes.
Thanks, Alex.
Let
Thanks,
me
Lee.
just mention Taliesin and Franc. Since the chat doesn't seem to be functional, I don't know why, but since it isn't, why don't we have people unmute who wish to make comments or ask questions, and just sort of be recognized by, before you start. Uh,
Yes.
so let me encourage that.
Terrific. Yeah, that was terrific. Thank you.
Should I go ahead?
Please go
I have
ahead. Yeah, go ahead,
I have a
Babs.
few questions. Frank, number one, it's Babs Reingold, and it's great to see you
Yeah,
after
hi,
my.
Babs. Nice to see you. Yay,
I
Jersey's in the
know.
house.
Yeah, not in Jersey anymore.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
but yes, we know each other from Jersey City, so we
Right.
go back just a little ways.
Yeah.
I had some questions about your materials, which I'm fascinated by with the styrofoam. And I remember some of your pieces. Obviously, this is great to see your whole presentation. Thank you. It was a wonderful tour over the many years. But and you just even mentioned at the very end where you said you even smoked some of the surfaces. What is it like to work, number one, because I worry about styrofoam just inhaling the stuff because I was just using it for some stuff and it worried me just as a material. And
Yeah.
what kind of different materials are you using on the styrofoam and does everything stick to it? I know you said you had some sand, but did you actually burn the styrofoam or was
No,
that
no,
okay?
no. You never want to burn styrofoam. It's the
I
worst thing.
know.
No, I only for that piece, the Gaza piece, the styrofoam was coated with plaster and then paint, and then I only used a little torch, a burnt wood, a stick. I
Oh,
dipped it, soaked it in kerosene because kerosene makes a lot of smoke, and then I burnt it very, very quickly So only the smoke went onto the surface, not the flames. And
Gotcha,
yeah,
gotcha. Well,
you
I was
don't,
just wondering how you were getting that smooth surface with the styrofoam because you leave areas and then you're smoothing out the other areas. So the plaster is what's changing the surface.
yeah,
And does
yeah.
that add a lot to the weight though?
No, actually, on some of them I used to use, when I first started, I used to use actual plaster, but now I use spackle because spackle sticks to it really well and it's like plaster. It has the same kind of texture and you can sand it, you can paint it. It's basically that Gaza bomb piece is a fresco. It's all paint on spackle slash plaster. So, yeah. And then a lot of the others are actually large archival color photographs that are adhered to the styrofoam. And then I
Collaged
go
on.
into that, yeah, collage, and then I spray and, do a few other things, add
But you're
found
not using
objects.
anything like oils. You're not using any oil paints.
No, no, I don't like oil because it takes forever to dry and there's no need for it for the way I work. I just use house paint and acrylic. Um, I used to use, in Rome, on the Rome Prize, I was using casein paint, which is a water-based paint, and it's also waterproof. It's sort of like a cross between acrylic and watercolor, and but it's very flat, matte. Like a fresco is not shiny. So the casein paint was very, very matte and didn't shine, which I didn't want.
Frank, Doug
Sorry to
Shear,
ask technical
um,
questions, but I always find it
okay.
fascinating when
I've got
artists
a
are
different
working
kind
with
of
so many
technical
materials.
question. Um,
Okay.
Go ahead.
you're in a lot of collections. Bravo.
Yeah.
And yeah, but I mean, that's very inspiring. Um, do you get some of your collection people, whether they're the curators or people that are more concerned with just maintaining the work, who are concerned about the fragility, let's say, of the materials?
Because I cover the polystyrene with so many things that it's not as fragile as you think.
Uh-huh.
Uh, of course, if punch it or hit it with a stick, it's going to get a little dented. But if you did that to a canvas, the canvas would even be worse.
Right.
It would rip. So it's not as fragile as you think. Plus, my fake faux cement on the edges is pretty hard. It's really, really hard, but it doesn't add a lot of weight. So, and a lot of my artworks in the collections are prints and photographs. They're not all
Uh-huh.
the styrofoam pieces.
All right.
I
Yeah.
Thank
had
you.
one more follow-up on that material. Do you think of your material, you've been working with them for so long, do you think of them differently today versus how you thought of them when you started using them? And does climate change or any of that thinking with the materials that you're using impact the work in any way? Or is that not a factor at all?
Well, polystyrene never changes. It's like one of the most durable materials there is. It just never changes. If it gets weathered, if you had a bare piece of styrofoam outside for a long time, it would get eroded and get smooth, kind of like a rock, natural stone would get. But that's sort of what I kind of like about it is that it's very permanent. It doesn't change. And then I put all this other stuff on top. So it's embedded inside of all this other stuff that's just not going to change. If you just don't touch it, just like you don't manhandle artwork in general, then it's perfectly fine. It'll last forever. It'll last longer than me, that's for sure.
Did
Can I
you ever
say
get interested in the idea of incorporate? It seems you have of incorporating detritus, incorporating sort of junk and
Yeah.
scraps of things. That's part of what you're doing as well.
Well, yeah, a lot of the pieces have that. Yeah, not all of them, but most of them.
I
Yeah,
have to say,
it just brings them like down to earth to life, so you
Uh-huh.
can to it,
Right.
it's yeah, Shelley. Yeah. Hey,
Go
Shelley.
ahead, Shelley.
Hi, Frank. Shelley Parriott. I just have to say it's absolutely fantastic. I had no idea that you had done all of that. Even though I know
Yeah.
you for a long time, I had no idea. It's absolutely amazing. That's all I really have
Yeah.
to say. Very compelling.
Thank you. And this is just the wall works. I have like, dozens and dozens of other things, murals and photo light boxes that I was making for about 10 or 12
Oh,
years, which
yeah.
I didn't even, and Polaroids, I didn't even include those color photographs, artist
Amazing.
books, it's like, that's a whole nother Zoom presentation.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
have you
you.
ever done artist books, Frank? Have you done,
Oh yeah. I
limited
started,
edition or one of a
yeah,
kind artist books?
I started making artist books in 1977.
Uh-huh.
When the first color Xerox machines came out, there was a one little art supply store, print shop in Soho that had the, there were only two color Xerox machines in all of New York City in 1977.
Mm,
And so I was there like every other day making books.
right.
In fact, I showed the books that I made. I showed at OK Harris and
So did you
Printing
get collected
Matter.
by Franklin Furnace, for example, or
Yeah, oh yeah, Franklin. I had several books in Franklin Furnace, which are actually now part of MoMA.
MoMA? Right,
MoMA
right.
bought the whole
Bought
Franklin
the whole
Furnace.
collection.
But I've been showing books for 50 years, yeah, about 50 years.
Hmm.
I love artist books. It's a very intimate, specific medium
Hmm.
that and it's amazing the variety of books that artists make. It's just wonderful.
Hmm.
In fact, I'm in a show now. It's a fun show. It's curated by Bibiana Mate. It's called Address Earth, and it's artist books, and it's traveling around the world in a suitcase. The whole show
Hmm.
travels around the world in a suitcase, and it's all artist books. And I have a book in that show.
The
Hmm.
Bibiana's show? Is it in Bibiana's curating? Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. Do you know Bibiana?
Yes, I was in the show that was at Hudson Mocha that she had put together,
Oh,
Address
yeah.
Earth. I had work in there. Yeah, I know her through Elisa Pritzker. You know Elisa
Oh,
Pritzker
yeah, of
too.
course. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's a fun thing.
hmm
And yeah. So any other questions?
Anybody else out there who would like to make a comment or ask a question?
I have
Don't be
to
bashful.
second Shelley's comment about the depth. I mean, I know you from a few years, and I've never seen anything like what you've shown today,
Mhm.
which apparently is just a small part of what you have. I words escape me.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I try to be like five or six different people, but it's all me though.
Uh,
Yeah. It's challenging.
Yeah, I remember we met in the 90s. Can you believe that we met?
Yeah, we were almost neighbors, right?
We were, yeah, in 1991 we
Hmm.
met, I believe. So yeah, it's a long time.
so I think I would like to use this moment to thank both Franc Palaia and Taliesin Thomas. I'd like to thank our programming director, Alex Cohen, as well as our board, our volunteers, and mention that we'll be returning January 26th with the winter and spring series. Um, Watch our emails, check our new website, artisttalkonart.org for details. And I wish you, all of you, the happiest possible holidays and safe ones. And I very much so appreciate you, Frank. I had no idea of the range. I mean, I did know your work, but I had no idea of the range, and I'm blown away, frankly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thank
amazing.
you very much. Before we
Thank
go,
you. Thank
can
you.
can
Yeah,
I just have a shout out to
sure.
Kristen Reed, another very old friend from New Jersey? Thanks for tuning in. And also Shaumo. We never met
Uh-huh.
in person, but thanks for tuning in. And
Hmm.
let's see who else. Jazz and Wow. Okay. Oh, and thank you, Taliesin. I appreciate
Thank
your
you,
time
Frank.
and effort.
You're
Yes,
so
absolutely.
terrific.
Yeah.
Really
Yeah. And
terrific.
your great writing. It's so interesting the way you write. It's so fun. It's really fun and exciting. Yeah.
We're so blessed to be in this art world. We're all coming together as community in this way, and we started in the middle of the conversation. It's just a thrill.
And one more thing, these are
Sure.
recorded, right, Doug?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay, so like if your friends missed it and you think they'd be interested, just tune in, go to the website, right?
YouTube and then
Oh, YouTube.
ultimately it will get added to the Archives of American Art collection that we have there, which is their largest one of audio and video. So thank you all and good night.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so
Happy
much, Frank.
holidays,
That was
everybody.
great. That was so
Thank you.
great.
Thank
Thanks
you.
very
And
much.
see you on January 26th. I'm the one that's going to be
That's
presenting
true.
or in
That's true. Yeah,
conversation.
we're excited about
So
it.
come then, Frank.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks,
night.
Night.
everybody.
Good night.